Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of CampusCare EdTalks. EdTalks is a platform where educators and leaders come on board and express their viewpoints related to education and society. A topic for the discussion is how to make classrooms an inclusive place. And to express their viewpoints on the same, we have with us Dr. Namrita Majail, ma'am, Chief Lead of Elpro International School, Pune. A very warm welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for inviting me here on yet very interesting and relevant topic.
It's so good to have you here, ma'am. Thank you so much for taking out your, so precious time. So let's start off with the session, shall we?
Sure, please.
So, ma'am, firstly, do you think, making the classrooms a more inclusive place is it really mandatory? I mean, necessary at all?
I think we can keep denying the very fact that inclusion is the way to live. But the fact is that it's going to see us right in our eyes when we don't equip our kids to face the world uh, according to their potential, the skills which we need to take care of at the school level. I personally believe whatever the classroom is, it's actually miniature world, right? So it gives every child a glimpse of what they're going to face outside the classroom, the four walls, the protective four walls of home and schools. So it's important that we ensure that every child who's sitting in the classroom is getting what they deserve to get. So it's not a kind of a privilege, it's not a favor done to any of the kids, but it's their right. We need to include them in every learning, every part of learning, and every element of learning. So hence it is definitely the need of the hour, especially after these lockdowns and the kind of loss they have in terms of social interactions and the kind of help they needed from their educators and the world around. I think when they have come back to school, they are looking at the mentors and the facilitators to help them with all what they have missed while they were at home, just wanting to be there and be heard and be taken care of by the mentors. So definitely, we cannot deny this.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing, thank you so much for briefing so much about it. So moving forward in recent times, how have the dynamics within the classroom changed? Earlier we used to study on a blackboard with just a chalk, and before that, our grandparents, they tell us that we used to study over just a slate and a chalk. So how do you
This,
yeah.
this I'll say there's a sea change when we look back how even I studied, because I also look very ancient when I look at the present child sitting in the classroom, because one, they are 21st century skills children, so they know that the skills they need to hone with the presence of all the equipments and gadgets around them, that's one thing. But at the same time, they're aware that this is what they want to do and this is how they can get. The need is that the mentors are equipped enough to give them what they want to give. So the dynamics in the classroom, as we always say, that it's a now everyone is a global citizen. So if you really sit in the classroom now, the children are not from one set of context or one set of society. They are like from all sections, all kind of backgrounds sitting in the same classroom. And also there are kids with or without needs which cater to their special diagnosis. So a mentor has to be so very clear that they are not looking at the children to just read what is written on the blackboard, chalk and talk method as we used to talk about it, but they are also well versed with technology much more than the mentors are really today. They are getting trained, which we'll talk about in the later section. But that the very fact that this change in dynamics, because children are traveling, children are from various backgrounds, they have their special set of needs, they are their contexts are different, joint families to nuclear families, from very outskirts of the cities to the very posh areas of the city, to have everything and to want something, all are there in the classroom. And the very important thing which I want to talk about here is that we have always spoken about the children, those who need in terms of learning disabilities, or the children, those who need hand holding and scaffolding in terms of learning. But we mostly forget about the kids, those who are gifted. They're also the kind of kids who need to be included in the entire learning environment. But the problem is that in many places we have not even acknowledged that there's a need to cater to different styles of learning. So this we've been talking about Bloom's taxonomy, but we have not understood it fully, that right from understanding level to creating level, it's actually about catering to the different styles of learning. There are children, those who are just about understanding something, but in the same class there is a child who's ready to create something new or innovate something new based on the understanding, analysis, all what he has gone through in terms of all 6 levels of Bloom's taxonomy. So those 6 levels plus the present realities, that is what is the real dynamics happening in the classroom. And if we just cater to one style of learning, where you just give something and then they take it, no, it's not going to help. Even if you want to, let's say, simple kind of topic in maths, types of triangles, you cannot just draw a triangle and then say, okay, B, C, D, and this is area and all. I mean, now is the time when you have to create different sections, stations in the classroom, and say, okay, there is a child who would just want to draw and understand the formula. There is one child who has the blocks in hand and he would like to fit all this and try and understand the formula. And there is one who's ready to experiment with the real life situations. So you have to be so very clear that that kind of dynamics is respected and is given due time and effort. And also creating the dynamics in a way that there is a mutual respect for every style of learning. You cannot not just sensitize the class that yes, there is a child where probably I will have to ask 10 questions, and probably there is a child where I have to answer 10 questions. So they cannot get restless about the learning style of their fellow friend. So sensitizing the class as a whole, sensitizing the parents, and then equipping the teachers themselves for the kind of tools, and I think investing on the resources is something which we need to take care of, and to take care of that dynamics in the classroom, because there is huge gap sometimes. There are children, those who have probably grown up with the gadgets, and those who have just got that in hand thanks to the lockdown and the digital media coming in to help. But rather than making somebody feel so privileged, so you have it, you need not to do it, but you didn't have it, so you do extra. No, these kind of remarks, when we are kind of creating that divide, should be avoided. So this dynamics can be very sensitive, very challenging for the person who's sitting and taking care of all this. A lot of patience, a lot of understanding, a lot of preparation is required from the mentor side. Methodology is the king, they say. No, the teacher has to master those methodologies and be patient to see the results.
Absolutely, ma'am. Very well said. So next, moving forward, ma'am. So should you think that should being inclusive be a value made by made mandatory in the curriculum?
Yes, I mean, I think we have already taken some steps forward because the kind of question papers now we are setting up are not just the subjective or objective, two kinds of questions. There is a competency based questionnaire. Gone are the days when we used to say make it 30 40 30, which means cater to the 30% those who need to just qualify it, and there are 40 average and 30 those who are like gifted kids. That's why that 33% was the mandatory pass marks, right? Because at least everyone would be able to do that. But now, looking at the exposure the children are getting, the very pattern of examination is changing. The very way they're writing their exam is changing. The very way the education system is preparing them for exam needs to be revamped further. Though we have just taken a baby step towards it, and we are saying that question papers will be different, but lot more than the question papers, I think the teaching which happens in the classroom, that needs to really be considered, because your very lesson plan should have that kind of a possibility to maneuver the very concept around the dynamics of the classroom, because the context is something which is the key. You have to see that when you are planning any activity, when you are planning any, choosing any activity out of your box of all the tools and techniques, you need to ensure that the curriculum is context based. That is one. It is very much catering to the very need of the students there. And of course, this cannot start in the classroom. It can, be felt in the classroom that yes, this need to be changing the curriculum. But I am sure, at CBSE level, central level, NEP is one of the things which we are really looking forward to seeing that change. The very boundaries are blurred. If you really see now, there is no science stream or commerce stream or something. You can pick and choose whatever you want to, and then pursue it as your field of interest. So, which means somewhere that awareness and that acceptance is there, that yes, we need to cater to the diverse interests in a diverse way, and also appreciate that, rather than saying, oh, now you have to do this because you cannot do that. No, you want to do it, please do it, we will cater for it. So that positive environment which is being created, I just hope that it gets percolated in the very nook and corner of our country, because it's too huge and so vast that sometimes it looks like a challenge. But I am sure, with the kind of intent and the effort every individual should be putting in, it will show us some results in time to really see.
Absolutely, ma'am. So, lastly, ma'am, do you think, while we talk about how to promote, how to, how the students should be inclusive and all these stuff while we promote, so how do we, even ensure that these values are imbibed in our educators also?
Yeah, that's a very good question, I must say that, because students cannot know all this by themselves while sitting in the classroom. First, we have to look at what we are training our educators for, right? So the very curriculum of teacher training needs to go through some revamp, and there's inclusive education should be like a bigger chunk. It is there for MA and BA courses, but that should be done in a very hands-on manner. Experiential learning, where they themselves create those modules and activities they feel good about. Yes, they have understood it, and that's what they're going to practice in the real world. So it doesn't stay there for the theory and then the marks, that's it, to be just qualified to be teacher. Something which will help them in the real scenarios in the classroom, various real situations in the classroom. So it's very important that the teachers, they know every child in the classroom, 35 to 40 in a regular, I'll say that ideal classroom. I know there are classes where there's much more, again, because of the paucity of resources and funds that's happening, or whatever the reasons. But ideally, 35 to 40 kids, to know about them in a year's time should not be a problem. And also to make them know you as a mentor, giving them confidence that, see, I'm there for you. I'm not going to quell any of your questions, which is so very relevant for your age, and you need to really be asking questions. So, as I said, it's very important that they are able to understand that this inclusive space which they need to create for children is where the sense of belonging is there, sense of safety, security, and respect is there. So that can happen only if they themselves are very clear about what is it, that sense of belonging. If they don't feel the sense of belonging for the organization they're working for, or the very cause they're working for, then definitely they won't be able to help the kids in a different way. So they need to provide thoughtful, differentiated academic support to their children where there are no boundaries of learning. Multiple options are there when we pick them up, help them to pick up whatever they want to do, to be expert in the skills and competencies they require, and also ask for help, the professional help. There are counselors in the school. Every mentor can actually equip himself or herself with the kind of knowledge they need to deal with these inclusive classroom spaces, and to understand the dynamics, as you said, and to create that kind of curriculum mapping both vertically and horizontally in such a way that children feel that yes, they are heard, they are seen in the classroom. So they can use differential or various instructional languages, methodologies. They can also use, like nowadays we're talking about toy based learning, gaming, and there's so much happening around us that we cannot then sit in our shell or in silos and say that no, this is what we have learned, so we'll give that. So they have to go out in the world of education globally and see what's happening in every nook and corner, not just to read and to write papers and to get acknowledged and get degrees. No, it's the real cause they are fighting for, that every child gets his or her due, to sensitize, to infuse empathy. The students can learn and really should learn so much in under the guidance of the mentor, that they should be thankful to that person forever.
Yeah.
And for this, teachers or the mentors can collaborate by putting the individual strengths together, not only of the mentors, but of the children also. Because in the classroom, every child has that strong point or the strength about his or her character or the style of learning or the interests. We just have to provide them with the opportunities. We have to appreciate them. And we also have to challenge them sometimes. I mean, if everything is so easy and going on the way they want it, then probably they will not even be interested in how much effort you are putting in to give them what they want to have. So, also understanding the patterns of the learning. For example, if it is maths, you know that this is a child who learns in a particular way, then try and cater to that pattern of learning. Whether this is speaking only, listening, reading, or writing, or the child is like more on kinesthetic skills, motor skills are better than the other kids, then we need to cater to that. So I think help is available. Mentors should be ready to take that help. They should be open to the feedback given to them by their own students. Ma'am, we want to learn this way. Sir, we want to learn this way. Please take us out of the classroom or take us to lab or the real lab time situation. Because if we are only trying to finish the syllabus, then all these things, I mean, it can't be catered to in any way possible, howsoever equipped or expert you are. If the race is just to finish the syllabus, then sorry, you need to engage your kids into circle time, understand them, give them quiet time, as we always talk about, when they are able to reflect, comprehend their learning, and then come back to you with the doubt. Which means there are kind of kids who want to reflect on what they're doing. There are kids who want to talk about it. Give them that space, give them that opportunity. Don't be in hurry to just finish the syllabus and make them write a question paper, which also doesn't cater to every learning style. So there's a lot which we need to sensitize our mentors also. The school system needs to be that open. When I want to teach poetry under the tree, I should be able to, because that will probably trigger that aesthetic writing skill amongst the children. So that kind of liberty we should take also and give also to the mentors. Then it will be possible.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being here. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for such a fruitful session. It
No,
was
no,
really
thank
wonderful to have you here.
Thank you so much. I always thank Antab for coming up with these sessions, because if we don't talk about it,
Yeah.
we'll not even be thinking about these things. Again, you can't be in the mode of denial. We need to say that, yes, there is something which we should talk about. We should really express our views about, so that it gets shared with all the people, those who can help all our kids.
Absolutely, ma'am. We have to talk about in order to make people think about it. Thank you so much again. Thank you so much for being here. It was really wonderful to have you here. And
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you, Entab and family. God bless you all.
thank you, ma'am. And for all the viewers watching us out, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stuff like this. Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.
Thank you. Same to you. Bless you.